Well, I would like to take a few moments just to welcome everyone. We are here at last. I want to welcome everyone to this historic occasion for the City of Fayetteville. It's a culmination of many citizens' efforts, and the efforts of the City Council, this administration, and the great hard work of the city staff. The beginning of the project to restore the Lafayette and Maple Street historic bridges begins today. But first, I want to thank a few folks today. I want to thank citizens, particularly our town historians, Paula Marinoni and J.B, Hogan, and determined members of our city, such as Bill Underwood, who kept this project very much alive. I want to thank you all. Let's give them a big round of applause today. I want to thank our City Council members, and not only the City Council of today, but of yesterday. I want to mention Shirley Lucas and Bobby Farrell and the late Swifty Reynolds, and of course, my Chief of Staff, Don Marr, who all served on the Transportation Committee and pushed this project forward for Fayetteville. And I want to thank our contractors, McClellan Construction Engineers, for their design work, and Crossland Heavy Construction for their work in completing this project. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I would certainly be remiss to say last, but certainly not least, I appreciate the hard work of city staff, and particularly city engineer Chris Brown. Now, Chris Brown, I see Paul, Chris Brown is the chief engineer of this city, and we started working on this, and when I first came into office, I told them earlier that when I started work on this, my beard was red. And so it's been a while, but Chris has been there, and Chris came up with the part of it through the federal funding in our bond program that the citizens passed, and we worked, and he worked diligently and put up with the mayor to get this project done. And Chris, I will forever be grateful for your work on this and your staff. So let's give him a big round of applause. Now, my friends, indeed, these bent and rusted railings deserve to finally be taken care of. The work will restore the bridges as closely as possible to their original form, as approved by the Arkansas Historic Preservation's program. This structure and the Maple Street Bridge, a block over, are listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1995, and we begin work today to retain that very special designation. The funding for this project was $2.75 million, and it came from a combination of the city's transportation bond program and the Federal Aid Highway Bridge Replacement and Rehabilitation Program. This city builds infrastructure, and this city's pride of heritage restores our infrastructure for generations to come. Now at this time, I would like to have some people, if they would come up and speak for just a moment. First, I would like to introduce someone that probably needs no introduction. The next three people I'm going to introduce does not need any introductions, but I'm going to introduce to you someone that is one of our great historians in this city, Miss Paula Marinoni. Would you come up and say a few words, Paula?
I just want to say thank you. Basically, this has been a long time coming, and there's been a lot of people in the community that are persistent about this. This is, like you said, the only two things that the city owns that are listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and that's an honor, and it's also a responsibility. It's something to be proud of, and I used to walk across these bridges almost 60 years ago. Don't ask me how old I am. But I remember these bridges walking back and forth to my grandmother's house. And I always thought they were so lovely. And I remember I wasn't very tall, walking along and running my hands across the iron, the decorative iron, and each time thinking how pretty it was. And so I kind of grew up with them. And when this was hit over here, we had been trying to get somebody interested in restoring the bridges prior to that, but that kind of really put it in motion. And when Mayor Jordan was elected, I believe even when he was running for office, I said, can I borrow you for an hour? And I picked him up, put him in the car, drove him around, and this is the first place I took him. I said, this has to be done. It's got to be restored. Another couple places I took him, hopefully will have happy endings too. But mainly I just want to say thank you to Mayor Jordan, and thank you to the staff, and thank you to everybody who's going to be working on it. And I got to tell you, I'm going to be watching you because I just live really close by here. And if you see somebody at the chain link going like this, what are you doing? That's me. So be on your toes. But thank you, everybody, and especially thank you, Mayor Jordan, for following through with this and having such a good staff that can get this done. I mean, there's something to be said about that. A good leader has good people working for him. So I'm real excited about this, very appreciative, and thank you very much.
Now I'd like to have someone come up that a longtime citizen of this city and has a business down here on Dixon Street. And about every 6 months, I would receive a letter from Bill saying, when are we going to get them bridges done? I said, Bill, I'm working on it. So today, Bill, I promised you we'd get these bridges done. Good. And today we fulfill that promise. Would you like to come up and say a few words today? Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, Lionel has, through many times in the last in the last 30 years, Lionel has had to tell me that there was going to be a little bit of a delay, a little bit of postponement, none of which were his fault. I mean, he's been up front from the beginning trying to bring this about. And Paula and I have been adamant through the years in that the bridge should be restored like it was, with original lighting and hopefully beautiful engraved panels that are in the lighting post. And so it's been a situation where there was a possibility of getting repairs made to the bridge, but not really total reconstruction. So now then, and Lionel, thank you. You're responsible for much of this. So now we see that that's going to happen, and I think the whole Northwest Arkansas area and everybody that went to college up here and crossed these bridges will be grateful. So thank you for your help.
Thank you. Now I'd like to bring up another friend of mine and a great historian in the city of Fayetteville and a great author too. I've read most of all of his books that he's written, and I wanted him to say a few words. He sent me a little history of the bridges as well, and today I'd like to have Mr. Jerry Hogan come up and say a few words. Of the Washington County Historic Society.
That's right. Thank you, Mayor. Thanks very much. The first thing I want to say is that this project is proof that you can have progress and still save the past, which is really important, I think, to almost everybody here. A wonderful thing. Now, what I was going to do real quickly, I won't do the whole history that I wrote for Mayor Jordan, but I have a little timeline that might be of interest to you. Now, some people already know it. I bet Paula does, and probably Mr. Underwood probably does, but this train track came through here, and the train arrived in June of 1881. The St. Louis and San Francisco Railway Company, the Frisco line, came through here, and they had to do a cut through this shale hill all the way through here to get this happening. And so as early as 1887, I found in the city council meeting minutes, the city was considering putting some kind of bridges across these cuts here because they only had Dixon Street. I'm sure that the streets didn't come here yet in those days, but I'm sure there was, you know, maybe foot traffic and wagons and so forth going up to University, which had been here 10 years already then. Anyway, so I could never find exactly when the wooden bridge that was built here at Lafayette was built, but by 1904, it's in the Sanborn Fire Insurance map, so we know it was there by 1904. The Maple Street wooden bridge, in November of 1907, they were getting near the end of building that one. And so they stood there until the mid-30s when these two bridges came. And like I said, I'm just do a timeline real quick. The Maple Street Bridge, as you know, was 1936. They started work in April of 36 and concluded in October of 36. And this guy was started in September of 1938, and it did not get finished until 1939 because in February and March of 39, the city had to stop, or the construction had to be stopped because there was a lawsuit relative to land here that Ida Gregg, the daughter of Lafayette Gregg, she was in her mid-50s then, they had a little dust up there before it was settled. And so then that's just a timeline, a real quick timeline. And of course, you all know that in 1995, both of these historic structures were put on the National Register of Historic Places. So there's your little quick timeline. Thank you very much.
Well, my friends, as we close today, this project is a great example of people, the voters, the city council, the staff coming together to build this community. We believe in this city anything is possible. Several years ago they said it's not possible. We believe other places' impossibility is our possibility. We believe that anything is possible through patience, perseverance, and passion. We drive this city ever forward. So I want to thank the most important people, the citizens of this great city, those of you that are watching today who saw the vision for retaining our historic bridges. And as I close today, I want to ask you one question. Don't you just love this city? Thank you all. We are open for business today. Well, this city is a great city because, you know, there's two types of government you can have. You can have a consumer-based government that always says, what's in it for me? What do I get out of it? It's all about me. We don't say that here. We have a partnership-based government where we're all part owners together. And like these bridges, it's symbolic of what we do at this city. We look at our past and move forward into our future together, moving it together as a part owner.